Good morning, Britain. Boris Johnson and President Zelensky say the next few hours are crucial for Ukraine. The two leaders spoke last night after President Putin ordered Russia's nuclear forces to be put on high alert. As Adil says, the first named child, an innocent, said, this is about Putin. This is Putin's war.
And you know, the
people,
that's
then
right.
He is really isolated.
Yeah, and there's that great...
had said that if Britons were planning to go to Ukraine to fight, then she would not block that to your programme on LBC. And you had a large number of people phoning in to say, we're going to go. Come, Brits who wanted to go and help. And in fact, the Ukrainian community here, as we saw last night, Boris Johnson went to the cathedral in central London, Ukrainian cathedral, and received a...
Go out.
You know, we're going to have to have it explained to us by our leadership that these sanctions aren't just going to bite Russia. They're going to hit us at tax rises. And I think it's really important that at some point people realise that sanctions on Russia have an effect, have a kickback. Is something that Putin is now holding above our heads is the threat of nuclear weapons, his generals to put them on high alert. Now, of course, we all hope and pray, frankly, that this is simply an intimidation tactic. But, Kevin, what today between the Ukrainian president or his representatives and hearing this morning, and none of it, by the way, being showed by the...
And we'll be live with the stories of fear and bravery from those who remain in Kyiv, sheltering in bunkers and trying to keep their families safe as the sirens wail. Good morning, Britain. It's just gone 6 o'clock. Welcome to the programme. Unprecedented times, really.
Well, I don't know about you, and I'm sure everybody felt the same way, but there was a moment yesterday when I actually felt physically sick. Well,
I remember texting you yesterday afternoon, and I think we both sort of had that sentiment. I think a lot of people are scared.
We know that President Putin has thousands of nuclear warheads, and yesterday he ordered Russia's nuclear deterrent forces. On their faces is a concern, because there's a sort of...
Like telling nuclear deterrents are always on standby, and it's generally a policy of lots of countries right now. But I think it's the point that he would even say that.
Yeah, and of course...
And knowing the fear it would bring out in people. Yeah. And that is pretty vile.
And this, of course, comes in the wake of what he said last week to anyone who would consider interfering from the outside. If you do, you will face consequences greater than any you have faced in history. We're going to be talking to military and nuclear experts about exactly what that might mean this morning, because, of course, it was Putin's intention that that would cause alarm. We're going to see what the
there is an argument, isn't it, that it's a sign of his desperation, really, that the war isn't quite going to plan. They haven't yet taken over one single city in Ukraine. And this is just within a few days, he's now started talking about nuclear attacks. That sounds desperate. But we'll get all the expert analysis throughout the show and speak to people on the ground, families, doctors, protesters, a real varied number of people who we'll be speaking to throughout the morning here on Good Morning Britain.
Well, the Ukrainian President Zelensky has said the next few hours are a crucial period for his country. In a call with the Prime Minister last night, Boris Johnson has promised to do all he can to ensure that further military aid reaches Ukrainian forces.
Yeah, it comes as President Putin orders Russia's nuclear forces to be put on high alert. We'll speak to our correspondents in Poland and back here at Downing Street. But first, our chief...
Let's speak to Nick Dixon, who is on the Polish...
Thank you, Nick. Now let's speak to Jonathan Swain, who...
The military has said that yesterday was a difficult day. I think some 350 civilians have lost their lives.
14 children.
And 14 children amongst that number. And of course, yesterday, Kyiv was in a very, very difficult situation. We are going to speak to two doctors who are in the Ukrainian capital. They reflected on their options to flee, but they have both decided to stay and help protect their capital and their country. And we will speak to them for an update on what is happening in Kyiv. The curfew ended at 8 o'clock in the morning, which is 16 minutes ago. And we will find out what it is like to have spent the night overnight in safety, in shelter, with Russian troops at the doors. Right, here's Ranveer with... Still to come on Good Morning Britain, the Ukrainian Russian soldiers. We will talk to them next.
First, let's get the latest news, travel and weather where you are this morning.
See you in a moment.